Travel at low cost with the points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.
You're listening to the Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Vacula, here to help you travel the world at next to no cost with credit card points, miles, benefits, and rewards. Make money, save money, and take advantage of great deals. Thanks for joining me for today's episode, a discussion with Riley of the website CardCenter.CC, where you can buy and sell gift cards. We talk about gift card reselling and how points and miles enthusiasts can resell gift cards to accelerate credit card spending, to make money, and build points balances. This episode was recorded in early October of 2024. Before today's episode, some quick announcements. Early bird ticket sales for Zorkfest 2025, a miles, points, and gambling event, are now live at Zorkfest.TravelZork.com. I spoke at the successful Zorkfest 2024 event and hope to see you at Zorkfest 2025 in Las Vegas. I'm also looking forward to other events in 2025 and had a successful 2024 speaking at events with Award Travel 101, Frequent Traveler University, and both Chicago Seminars events. If you're an event organizer and would like to have me speak at your 2025 event, please contact me. Visit meetup.com/Philly miles and points to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia Travel Credit Miles and Points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The next meetups are on November 17th and December 15th of 2024. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. Search Hurdy Gurdy Travel on Subscribestar.com to financially support my efforts, starting at the $5 a month tip jar level. On with today's episode. All right, recording. All right, thank you for coming on the show, David Weiler from CardCenter.CC.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
How did you get involved with all of this, with gift card reselling?
So getting involved in gift card reselling started out probably just as much as anyone else who currently sells us gift cards. Got married about 10 years ago, and we needed to go on a vacation for our honeymoon. Being newly married, we couldn't afford to pay for any high-end hotels or flights or stuff like that. Started researching, points options and miles options, and dipped myself into our first few credit cards, which was funny enough, the Hyatt and the United card. Then I realized after we signed up that, hey, how am I going to spend $5,000 or whatever the sign-up bonus was at that time to earn those miles, and started gift card reselling to other people who were buying gift cards at that time, some smaller groups. As time went on, I slowly built up a network of folks who, I guess you would say, end buyers, who I was able to start selling gift cards to directly instead of flipping them to other brokers. When I first started, when I actually opened up my first group, started out with a small crowd from a couple of Slack groups. I opened up originally I started under my own name, and then eventually opened up the MDW company, and was mainly working off Google Sheets and WhatsApp messages to send out deal alerts and buy gift cards.
All right, so you started with your own groups, with your own initiative, and later on you merged with past podcast guest Dan, formerly Code Within and now Card Center. What led to the merge?
At some point, I came to the realization that not having a platform with more of an automated way of buying gift cards just wasn't going to work in the long term. Spending a lot of time doing a lot of data entry, copying, pasting from other people's Google Sheets into mine, and then from mine into other buyers, and then dealing with listing cards arrays manually, which is the large marketplace where we sell a lot of our inventory. And Dan, who is my current partner, was a fellow who I met on a couple of Slack groups. I think it was about 5 years back. We just kind of both broached the conversation about maybe potentially partnering up with one another. Joining with what he was running under was a company, Code Within, and we merged his company and mine together to create CardCenter. This whole part of the business started about, I think this was in October last year, November. On Dan's side, he kind of wanted someone to help him manage the business, so he doesn't have to focus on the day-to-day operations so much and kind of work on the technical side. Although he does help me manage it on days that I'm not available, or some other times where he does take over. But generally, I'm the one who runs the day-to-day operations of the business, and that's it was a mutual beneficial partnership where I got access to a platform that was already built before. He had built Code Within for his own business operation, and Dan found someone who knows the business and was willing to partner with him to kind of alleviate some of the role that he had in the day-to-day operations of what was then Code Within and what became CardCenter.
Good. And I like the platform. It's nice that it's all on one website. I get the email alerts for card deals. So people new to this might not understand. They think, oh, well, why would I sell gift cards and then take a loss on the gift cards? But what it is finding the deals and buying when the deals make sense. So what you do as CardCenter is you send out emails that say, hey, this brand is 10% off and we're buying it at 91% face, for example. So if you could find a discounted gift card and sell the gift card, then there's a way to make a little bit of profit or even break even and still get credit card rewards and spend on that.
Correct. Funny enough, whenever people ask me what I do, and I try to explain to them that, we buy gift cards, I resell gift cards, their first thought always is, well, how do you make money on a gift card if you're buying it at full price? So like you said, the idea of being able to, find deals and figure out, when stuff go on sale, that's really where our breakage is and what our business runs. So.
Yeah, I'm just looking to find an edge with current promotions. Right now, recording on September 17th, it's the final days of a sale at a local supermarket, Redner's, and they're running an amazing deal right now. They're giving $21 back on $100 Disney gift cards, and you're buying them at 89% face value. So with $21 off and then selling them to you at $89, it's a really, really good deal for these cards. So sometimes deals like that come about, or maybe it's like a 1 or 2% edge or break even, but just following these promotions and seeing them through the deal alerts and the emails, it's usually easy to find pretty good deals to get some spending.
Correct. And that's where most of the folks who are in this game are all about, spending money on their credit cards for whether it's a sign-up bonus, whether it's just to maximize their percentage back on various credit cards that people use, anywhere from 1% to plenty of plays you can get over 5% or more, stacking offers or stacking bonus categories and various credit cards that people put. Yes, that's the idea, kind of how you broke it down.
Yep, and a lot of category multipliers too, as if I'm buying a card at a grocery store, I have a lot of cards bonusing grocery store spend. And sometimes you get the best of both worlds where you're working on a sign-up bonus, a high spend goal where you're getting the category and another bonus out of it. So there's a lot of possibility here with the gift card reselling, especially for those who don't have as much organic spend. You were talking earlier, oh, how am I going to spend this $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is. But this is, I think, a pretty good way to do that.
Yes, 100%.
And how do people get started on your website and your platform?
The sign-up process is pretty simple. You go to the site, that's CardCenter.CC, CardCenter.CC. When you jump on the site, there's actually two options on the website in front of you. There's buy from us or sell to us. You would click on the sell to us page and it'll bring you to a sign-up page. It'll basically ask you for basic information, an email, name, phone number, who referred you to the site. And then there's a list also of the different deal alerts that you can choose to opt into or opt out. And not everyone wants to, get deal alerts for every single deal out there because, like you said, Redner's was the example you brought up. Not everyone lives in a Redner's supermarket, and they don't really care to know that Redner's is running a deal on gift cards. Once you sign up, we send you a verification link through the company persona. Verify that whoever you are, you're actually legit and not just some random guy in the street who is trying to scam us or whatnot. You got to upload your identification with a selfie, pretty quick 2-minute process. And we review those every 2 to 3 business days. So generally faster, sometimes it can take a little bit longer. And once you're approved, that's really it. You go on the website, we send you a Slack invite to our Slack group where that's also where we notify people of deals that come out and where we have discussions about different things going on. You have to go to your account, you add your bank account or PayPal. Those are the 2 options that we offer right now to receive payments. And that's pretty much it.
Yes, and the email alert should come in shortly after getting verified, registering. You'll be right in the loop in a few days, I would think.
And once you get approved, you get a welcome email and your account gets active. And that's when you can kind of see what's going on within the site and start buying gift cards for us.
Yes, and the payment methods through ACH I find really interesting because a lot of banks will offer direct deposit bonuses. Change your direct deposit to this or that bank, you'll get $300, $400. And in my experience, almost all of the direct deposits coming from CardCenter triggered that direct deposit bonus.
We have folks who are literally updating their bank accounts, I don't know, some guys every week.
Oh.
They're not doing it every week, but there are times where there seem to be some good bank bonuses, and guys are just churning different sign-up bonuses from different banks, and they'll add a new bank to get the sign-up bonus, and then move back to their old bank, and then a couple of weeks later they'll do the same thing. We don't really track where every guy is getting their sign-up bonus from, but it's interesting to see some of the names that pop up when people change their bank account. Where's the next great deal? You can pretty much match it up to whatever's being posted on various blogs that talk about. The Doctor of Credit is a big one. He's very into the sign-up bonuses for banks, and I guess that's an added benefit because a lot of the bonuses require direct deposit. So we have people who ask us to push off payments just so that they can get the right amount to equal the direct deposit that they require for their sign-up bonus. So we'll never say no to an extended payout, but people ask us to combine payments. People ask us to split them up. It's interesting to see some of the requests that come in, depending on what they actually need to be done for the bonus.
Yes, and past podcast guest Heidi was talking about she has an employer direct deposit and she opens other accounts to get other bonuses. And I say, well, I don't think you'll need to move your employer direct deposit around because that's probably a little bit of hassle. They start asking questions. Maybe you have to fill out a form or it's a little bit complicated. So with CardCenter, you could just move that direct deposit around and you don't need to rely on an employer direct deposit.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I remember when my wife was working as a nurse now she stays home with the kids. But when she was working as a nurse this is still when we were living in New York, and she would get direct deposit payments, and I would ask her, back when I was churning sign-up bonuses, which I haven't really been doing too much as of recent, I would ask her if I can change the bank account details that the hospital was sending the money into just to earn sign-up bonuses. At some point, the hospital was like, this is too much. You got to pick one. One.
More unhappiness there.
Keep it at that. More unhappiness, yeah.
Yeah, so we have options here with CardCenter, and I also have a Wealthfront account that's a 5% APY checking account. So that's another thing that your extra money, let's say, can sit in there before you have to pay your statement balances in full on your credit cards. So you're earning a little bit of extra money there too. Yeah, I like to ride the credit roller coaster. I usually don't pay my cards super early. Some people, I'll pay them, I'll zero them out every week. But for me, I let it ride out and I'll just pay that statement balance a few days before it's due. I'll set aside 1 day a week.
You let your cards close with those high balances all the time?
Oh, yes. My scores sometimes go to the low 600s, but for me, it doesn't matter until I'm ready to apply for other cards. And American Express doesn't seem to care either that I get the no lifetime language offers and I still get approved because I'm already an American Express customer, is what I think. So I'm not looking at applying for new cards until February. So if my scores are in the 600 now, I really don't care. I'll ride the roller coaster. Then when I pay everything off and be strategic about it, I'll close with a zero balance. Then my scores will rebound and I'm once again in the high 700s.
Yeah, some people are a little more anal about that. I know I am.
Yep.
I see these large balances and I see that my statement is about to close. And I got this like, I'm so used to back when I was churning more credit cards before I got shut down by, I don't know, most of the banks that people use, which is a story of within its own. I was always worried about having that credit score knocked down and running high balances, and I think that that nervousness has carried on. They were like, if I've got the cash to pay it, then like I'll just knock my credit line down to zero, just so my statement doesn't close with that high balance. But it makes sense. I mean, if you're not trying to buy a house and you don't need the new cards, then your credit score doesn't mean that much.
Yeah, I think some people can be too hyper about it in that they're, oh, I want my 800 score, I want my 815, my 830, whatever it is. I've run into people in the wild, I don't even want to apply for any credit cards because it's going to ruin my credit score, and that's quite a myth. And if I'm still getting approved, I've been doing this since 2018, we're recording in 2024, it doesn't matter too much. So it's fun seeing the scores go up and down, and so far it hasn't led to closures as far as I know, so all good there. And in quarter 4 is approaching. We're recording September 17th, 2024 today. And into quarter 4, I think we're going to see a lot of holiday related deals. It gets really, really wild. Can you talk a little bit about what we might expect?
Quarter 4 in general, over years past, has always been where, many different online merchants will run continuous promotions throughout the holidays. Websites like Amazon or Best Buy or Target or any of the other random gift card vendors on there, My Gift Card Plus, PayPal, etc. Those deals usually ramp up and things get crazy. I mean, there are times where you wake up and log into my computer and check the emails, and it's endless. The amount of deals that you got to get out there and post. And then in store as well, the stores seem to ramp up stuff around the holidays too. They run different promos on Thanksgiving time, Christmas time, and then close to New Year's is when things kind of start to slow down. But things get crazy at the various different retailers as well. The in-store deals coming fast and furious.
Yes, I recently upgraded 3 American Express Business Gold cards to American Express Business Platinum cards. So I need to spend $10,000 per card for a total of $30,000 spend. And I think now's a great time to do that because I know that the spend opportunities are going to be coming up. So it's going to be pretty fun in quarter 4.
Yeah, and online deals, when they start getting generated much faster, makes it easier to be able to do that spending. When it comes to in-store deals, a lot of folks who don't have the right social connections or being able to, not every store is possible to be able to hit as hard as people would want. I don't know how it is with vendors. That's the example you brought up. Every store has limits as to how much you can buy, and you run into problems with cashiers and all that stuff. And generally, for the online deals, you kind of stick to the limits the merchants put up there, and you can still kind of generate a lot of spend just that way. Especially when quarter 4 comes and the deals come in hot and heavy.
Yes, and Amex people typically think, oh, I don't want to buy any gift cards at all on American Express cards. I think that's a misconception. But I look for the deals that are maybe more sneakier spend where, okay, I'm not going to ram and jam egiftcards.com or egifter.com or mygiftcardsplus.com on Amex for these larger transactions, but definitely for the in-store transactions, you can generally split your payment methods or you can do multiple transactions.
They have flagged in the past, specifically I know for Kroger, I think Safeway and their affiliates as well, where if they suspect that certain charges are for gift cards, they're just going to pull back the points that you earned, and they want to give you a chance to fight it. I mean, in general, they're usually right because most folks aren't spending thousands of dollars at some various
no catering business here,
or groceries, yeah, or pharmacies if they're not actually spending it on gift cards. But then that you mentioned eGifter and My Gift Card Plus. I know for me personally, Amex was clawing back purchases that were made on those said websites, or basically any purchase that had in it within the description the word gift card. They call it back, and for some people they haven't. So to me, I think it's been where once you're on their radar, then they basically track all your gift card spending and they'll just take everything back.
I haven't had problems on older cards that are more seasoned where I can do some larger transactions on older cards, but for newer cards working on a sign-up bonus or a retention offer, that can be the stickier part.
But that's part and parcel of I think my life history when it comes to losing credit cards and getting points taken back. I've got a long list of banks that don't like me, and I've had history with American Express too, like many other folks, losing points and having stuff clawed back. So you just gotta play with the punches. And I've kind of stopped using I've stopped using Amex for most of my in-store and online gift card purchases. The only real Amex cards I use are the Hilton ones, basically the non-membership reward cards, where so far to date they haven't really been taking anything away, as far as I know. At least for me, they haven't been taking any points away for gift card spending on those. So I mean, there are plenty of other banks that don't bother you so much. There's a lot of options out there, so it's really just about staying as much as under the radar as you can and not losing your connection to those banks.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the risks. Another thing is cashiers in store might mess up. I've had some circumstances where a cashier would try to scan the same gift card twice. They'd enter the wrong amount. All kinds of things can happen. So you have to be attentive to the transaction, check the receipt on your way out to make sure that it goes well.
Yeah, I've had such stories. It can be a real pain in the neck to go back and double check to make sure that your the cards that back from the store when they make a mistake like that. It also depends how you buy the cards. A lot of I know specifically I'm not so familiar with Renner's or some of the other Giant I used to do back when I lived in Staten Island. That's actually the first big operation that I got into when it comes to reselling gift cards, was flipping the Stop and Shop and Giant rewards within Fuel rewards, which I know you're very into as well. I mean, but you're in Giant PA,
Giant
right?
PA, yep.
There was no in Stop and Shop where I lived. There wasn't any option to even do self checkout. You kind of had to go to the customer service and do the transactions over there. But for folks that do self checkout at Kroger, or there's some other stores like H-E-B where you can also buy a gift card at self checkout, all within limitations as to how much you can do. If you mess up something there, and then you attract the attention of some low-level employee who's managing it, or even if you don't, and you don't realize till after you get home, then you have a much harder time going back to figure out what may have happened, because you never actually dealt with a human being when you purchased the card. So you got to be meticulous. And I can't say I've been doing gift cards for probably about 8-9 years, and I still have made some of these mistakes, messing up or getting. I actually had a story a month ago with a Williams-Sonoma gift card that I had bought at Kroger. Lady at the desk gave me the wrong card, and I only realized when the card sold and it got debited back, and I went to check the receipts, and I saw that I did not have any such serial number on my receipt. Well, and I was able to go back and basically show them the story, and they trusted me, and I got my money back. But that doesn't always happen. A $500 gift card that doesn't get activated properly, if you can get your money back, that can kind of kill you for whatever profit you've been making on your spend very, very quickly.
Yep. Yeah. So important to be organized, to be attentive to these things, and if there are issues, to try to resolve them quickly. I think thankfully with the online deals are much more reliable, as you're getting these gift card codes. Things are just all in your email. It's stored. It's easily retrievable. And I've had some codes not work, and I was able to call in and resolve those. But that's super rare compared to in-store things possibly going wrong.
Right, that's why the most important thing I tell people when they ask me, what's the best way when they get started with gift cards, what's the best idea that I have for them? And it's like you said, keeping track, accounting. Everyone has their own way of how they track what they bought, whether it's a Google Sheet, Excel, or making sure they have all their cards stored in a way where they can easily find them. If you're not keeping track of what's going on, and you make some errors in a gift card code, even if it's not a card that didn't activate. A lot of times there's a lot of data entry that goes into selling cards, whether it's physical or even e-gift cards. It's funny enough, I always think that e-gift cards should be ones that people wouldn't have a problem submitting correctly. And we get tons of debits on e-gift cards as well. So sometimes people don't copy paste. Some cards you can't even copy paste. You have to. Those actually would make sense where someone would make a typo. But even for cards that you can copy paste, people sometimes write over data, and if you don't have a record of where you bought the card and what you did with it, well, those can slowly add up. The next thing you know, you went from making a few $100 to being down in the negative. The most important thing for anyone who's doing gift cards is tracking. You got to track what you're doing. You got to track your in-store purchases. You got to track your online purchases, and make sure you know what you can reference back to in case you ever have an issue with the card, down the road.
Yes, and definitely keep the physical cards. So that way, if there's a typo, you can go back, find the card.
Yeah, and it's for some people, it's interesting that no matter how many times they're told that, I've had people who throw out physical cards or throw out the receipts, a couple of months after they get sold, and they just forget, whether it's purposely that they throw it out or they actually forgot about it and they just didn't realize they were supposed to keep it. And it's just such an easy way to lose money when you don't have to. You got to keep those physicals, and if it piles up in your house, figure out a way where to store it, then that doesn't get in your way. I just threw out, funny that we're talking about physical cards, I just threw out a whole garbage bag full of old gift cards that I had sitting around from 3 years back. My wife was finally like, "Can we get rid of these?" And I said, "Yeah, I think after 3 years we're pretty much safe, and we can dump them." Every gift card broker has different policies as to how long you're liable for your card for, and you just got to make sure that however long that responsibility lies on you, that you have whatever you need to be able to fix the issue. I personally, when it comes to physical cards, I box them into little shoe boxes, based on a per month basis, and I'll wrap each individual purchase with the receipts that came with that day, and therefore it's very easy for me to go back and reference a card. I'll just match it up on the date that I have on my own sheet from when I bought it, and track it to the receipt that has that date, and that's an easy way to be able to not have to run through boxes and boxes of cards every time.
And what are some of the better deals you might expect to see coming up in coming months into the fourth quarter?
You talking about online deals or in store?
Both the online and in-store deals. What typically comes up in quarter four that's a really good one people should be on the lookout for?
I would say online, people get excited about the Amazon and Target deals, mainly because a lot of people have the 5% back credit cards. If you're selling a card at break even, or sometimes even for less than break even, your profit is already rolled into the 5% back that the credit card is giving you. And Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, goes up, I know for sure 6, sometimes even more. During certain holiday periods, they'll up the percent back that you get on the card. So that always gets people excited. Although Amazon is it's a little bit hard to scale. There are some little tricks that you can use. People do run multiple accounts. And Target's another one. Target also has a 5% back red card. The better part about Target is that they generally run deals in store as well. Easier to scale. And although I've never done Target personally in store, I'm pretty sure that you can do these at self-checkout to a certain extent. Off the top of my head, online, what else would pop up? I mean, there's tons of deals that just come up from the regular gift card vendors, as we spoke earlier. I would say Giant, Stop and Shop, which I know a lot of your folks are very into. They seem to run some good promos in quarter four.
Yeah.
What comes to mind? Well, 10 times Apple is a big one. They a lot of times will have 6 to 8 times on all gift cards. They're actually running a promo, which you actually brought to my attention, on Home Depot, upcoming this Friday. At a 10 times promo, right?
Yes, 10x points on Home Depot. And I'm discussing the Giant Fuel Points program for a different episode, so listeners can tune in for that on how the fuel points work. But the 10x is giving something like 25% back in gas. So if you're buying the Home Depot around 90% and you're getting a rebate of 25% in gas, that's a really, really good one.
I mean, Meijer comes to mind too. They seem to run a lot of good promotions on. And another big one, actually, that just popped into my head was the Dollar General.
Oh, the Thanksgiving World Tour.
Dick's Sporting Goods and I think Lowe's as well.
Yep.
But I think Dick's Sporting Goods is the one that is a good one. It's usually 15% off, which people like. The only downside to Dollar General is that they can be a real pain in the neck when it comes to cards not being activated properly. They've got an overall activation limit within a certain period of time, which is I think an hour. Where if anyone who buys more than a total overall through the store, I think it's 2,000 off the top of my head. Maybe it's 3. And if you go in there and you try to buy over that limit, if a guy before you bought a $10 gift card, well, your gift card's not going to activate. And the biggest downside is that you actually get charged before the card is activated. And there's a lot of disconnect between the store employees as to how the refund has to work. And I've heard a lot of crazy stories with people who have to chase down district managers to get their money back. So you got to be a little careful when it comes to Dollar General.
Yeah, 15% off Lowe's 500s. So that's been a good one where you just do one swipe for a transaction. In the past, Dollar General had the discount on Uber $100 gift cards. And when I got 5 different $100 Uber gift cards, then the later cards in the transaction weren't activating. So it might have been the number of cards, not necessarily the denomination, because the 500s were okay with Lowe's, but with Uber, when I had multiple 100s, that's where I ran into a problem. So then they had to issue a refund back to the card, which is a very silly process there. Rather than just declining the transaction, they end up charging your card and then the card isn't activated. But you're able to catch it, and a message comes on the screen that says issue refund to customer. So at least there's that.
Well, Lowe's at 85% probably won't be so exciting anymore if the Pepper 86 keeps on coming up over the next 3 months. We'll see.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, it's the Pepper app. Can you explain the basics of Pepper? That's no relation to Stephen Pepper from Gift Card Galore.
So Pepper is an app that when it started, they were essentially offering a new user bonus where anyone who signed up with a referral was able to get essentially 10% coins, is what they would call their cashback program, after your first 15 days on whatever you spent. Now, if you redeem those coins for personal use, then you're maximizing your percentage more. But even if you were just reselling them, high value gift cards, Walmart, Home Depot at 89 to 90, 91, they had a limit. Well, I think the top ad was 5,500. Although if I'm not mistaken, some folks were able to get that even higher if they called up. But most people were able to spend an average of $5,500 every day, basically 15 days straight, and that was kind of the easiest MS opportunity you possibly could have. You couple that with a lot of cards, such as the Amex Business Gold Rewards, which was earning 4 times because it was coding as computer supplies. So, once your 15 days are up, they would they would give you your full 10% back. And people were able to just churn out multiple accounts under different names. And all they required was really just a new email, and don't use the same credit card info on each account. At some point, they ended that unlimited 10% back new users, and people were thinking that, Pepper's dead. And the next thing you know, they started running these crazy promotions, just random gift cards every day, anywhere from 10 to even 23%. We've seen on brands that never had before, discounted as deep as Pepper has. I think the biggest one that's come to mind, I saw Victoria's Secret was once at 23% off. Being that up until today, everything was coding as 4 times on an Amex Gold card, or even if you're just looking for a sign-up bonus, if you can sit on your couch and just swipe away 5,000 plus and purchases per account, that's kind of the easiest way you can generate points without having to do much work. So we'll see how that continues to play out. I would think even if the 4 times coding is dead, I mean it's still a great opportunity to just, if you even have just a regular 2% back card, you can break even on your gift card reselling. That's as easy as it gets. I think in the history of doing gift cards since I've started, I don't think there's ever been an easier way to spend money on your credit card through gift cards than Pepper has.
Yeah, early on, people were talking about their accounts were getting locked or the coins were being taken away, so I stayed away from it. And I think, this can't last much longer, but now it's a few months into Pepper. Do you think it's going to last much longer, or how are they making money? Like, what is going on?
I don't know. It's funny that you mentioned that. I referred my wife to Pepper, and I made the mistake of using the same credit card on her account for one transaction, and they flagged that account. And initially, were going to give me my sign-up bonus, and I had to chase them down for about $3,500 worth of coins. It took me about 2.5 months for them to post it. How long Pepper's going to last? I don't know. I mean, the word on the street is that they're basically just trying to burn money that they receive from their investors, and they're selling gift cards at a loss because there's no way that the discounts that they're offering on these various brands, they're actually getting that from the brand itself. It's just something we haven't seen before. I guess whenever they run out of their money, they'll stop offering these crazy, insane deals. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows the answer. I think as long as it lasts, we'll take it as it goes.
Yep. Now let's shift back to your website. I like the interface. I think it's pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. You see a tab that says reservations, rates. Can you explain some of the options on the website in order for users to submit their cards and see what's going on?
I think our interface is one of the easier ones to use when it comes to submitting cards. Make a reservation on the site, so you'll have a list on your account of all your approved reservations. You click on your reservation, and to submit the gift cards, it's literally just copying and pasting your gift card from your spreadsheet, Google Sheet, which is what everyone should be using to track their cards, and just submitting them into the site. And when you submit them into the website, if you have an approved reservation, the system will automatically connect those cards to your reservation and link it. And that's what you really have to do. You can even submit multiple brands, multiple gift cards at one shot, and the system will split them all up into. If you have an approved reservation, it'll connect it to your existing reservation, and you'll get an email that your cards were approved, and you'll have a payment schedule that you can find in the payment tab as to when your cards are going to be paid. You can also make a reservation, which is a useful benefit that people like to use if someone is sitting on cards that they have from a while back, or if there's no cap left on the deal that we have. So you're welcome to make an offer, and if there's no active deal, the offer will go pending. We'll review those. We try to do it every day. We can respond directly to your offer. Also, a deal page, which will have the current active deals from what we are buying. Which you can click on, and it'll display all the rate, the brand, some of the details on the deal. A lot of them will have a link towards the actual online vendor where you can buy it. If it's an in-store deal, we'll generally link it to the Stephen Pepper's Gift Card Galore article that has a description as to what the deal is. This way you can kind of read up on the deal and understand what exactly the deal is before you go ahead and purchase it. Every deal has in it a buy cost as to what it's going to cost you bottom dollar to buy it. That doesn't factor in any of the credit card points or whatnot that you're going to earn. And then there's a sell rate as to what we're buying the card from you. The system also calculates the margin that you would make on that purchase. And so this way you can, it kind of does the math for you to see if it makes sense for you if you want to go ahead and do it. One other benefit that we offer that I'm not sure if anyone else out there has is that we actually accept, and you just did this with us for the promo that we had on Zillions, where we accept Happy Cards and Choose Your Cards, which is the income version of what Blackhawk has for Happy, where we'll buy those cards outright and we'll convert them for you. And so, when a deal like that comes out, you don't have to worry about what brand did I reserve, what's the best rate, or, getting all nervous about making sure you get the best possible brand out there. And then you don't have to deal with the work of converting that either. Those conversions could be quite cumbersome. I think Choose Your Card is even worse than Happy. You got to click through some captchas, and you got to go through the list and figure out, what card you're converting it for, and then you got to send it to your email, and then you got to go to your email, you got to copy paste from the email into the site. So that's a big time saver where we'll basically do that work for you, and you don't have to be busy with all the stress of getting those cards converted.
And you mentioned about reservations. So typically when you put out a deal, you mention capacity and say, okay, well, we're taking $30,000 in capacity that across all people on the platform, you'll only take up to a certain amount. So people have to reserve the capacity. And I always tell people in my groups to reserve before you buy the cards to make sure that you can sell them rather than going out, buying the cards, and then you come back and then the capacity is at zero.
Nature of the beast in the game is that a lot of times people do reserve and unfortunately they can't fulfill it for many reasons, whether it's because the store's out of stock or they just forget about the deal, or they don't have a chance to get to it. So we always try to encourage people that if you're we do, every deal has different terms as to how long you have to submit it. Networking is key for all of this, whether it's picking up new sellers or just people like meeting you face to face, even if they have already been selling to you for a long while.
Good. Yes, and it's been a nice community, lots of engaged people. It'll be nice to be in a room with our people rather than you're just chatting with random people day to day and they don't see the value in this. They don't care. They're using cash and debit, right? It's now we can go in and talk about the things that we're doing together. So it's nice to go to these in-person events.
Yep, it was nice last year to meet a few folks who sell us cards and putting a name to the face and not being surprised as to how some people look or who some people are. You kind of put a personality to people when you're busy with them online all day. You build an idea of who you think they are, and then when you meet them in person, you realize that they are nowhere like what you thought they were online. So it is enjoyable to meet people. It's just difficult to get out there.
Okay, good. And how has the website grown over time? You've acquired a lot more sellers from month to month, year to year.
So we grew significantly, obviously, since we started CardCenter, and especially after you did your first podcast with Dan, that brought us in a lot of new folks. I think the group has probably doubled since we started CardCenter to this point. The Slack group was also a new thing that we started when we initially launched CardCenter. When we first started, there was no group to discuss any deals or anything like that. In terms of website improvements, we've done some updates on the main page of the site before you actually sign up. And Dan has a whole list of, for people that don't know, Dan is the one who built the whole platform from scratch, and any updates or stuff that are done, he's got his hands in it. And he's always actively working to put in improvements and make changes to the website to make things better. The one part that we are we were excited about a few months back was not really about the sellers part, but if anyone goes on the site, it's pretty much open that we have a selling platform as well, where people can buy gift cards from us. Credit card payments accepted. ACH debit is also accepted. Zelle. This has been a way to be able to streamline our selling process to a lot of the end buyers that we sell to make it easier for them to buy gift cards from us. It's been a slow grind, and we still do sell a lot of our volume on Raise and other marketplaces, and I don't think we'll get to that level anytime too soon. But it's brought us a nice group of new buyers, which enables us to offer better rates, offer better terms, and having a streamlined process to sell gift cards, equals a better way for us to buy them. The more we can sell, and the more middlemen we can cut out, the more we can offer when we buy cards. It's always a difficult balance as to when we set up deals as to how to manage what we can sell quickly, what we have to float, and being able to predict what's going to happen on the market. And sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we're right, but we try our best.
All right, very good. And again, it's CardCenter.CC is the website. How can people find you online, reach you, contact you?
Again, CardCenter.CC. There is a email on the site if someone just wants to reach out directly. If they have any questions before they sign up, it's support@CardCenter.CC. You can find that on the main page when you jump onto the website. And once you're signed up, people can reach out to us on Slack. People can email us.
All right, very good. And yes, when I see some deals that aren't listed on your site, I reach out through Slack to you or Dan, and then we work out a deal for some of these more obscure things like the local stores that I have, or maybe something online that I saw that you didn't catch at the moment. So it's a good collaboration. I think the customer service have been very happy with lots of deals, lots of opportunities for spend. And it's really nice to do the online deals. So you're clicking buttons from home, copy pasting codes and making money. So a good side hustle for many.
Yeah, we try our best to get to every deal, although we're not perfect. There are times we miss stuff. Send us deals when they come up. It's always great. Like you said, collaborative effort. We miss something, someone tells us about it. Last thing I guess would add, we kind of spoke about the risks of gift card reselling. But the one additional risk, aside from you not doing great housekeeping, is the inherent risk of losing a gift card or getting a gift card hacked, which does happen. I would say that happens more in terms of the physical cards, although it does happen with e-gift cards too. I guess that can be there are a lot of brands that the security on their cards aren't as good as they should be. I know back in the day, Applebee's was a big one, although I think that's kind of tapered off, where you buy their brand online, and next thing you know, a week later, the brand was hacked, and you're kind of out of luck because almost every gift card has a term and condition on their cards where if the card gets lost or stolen or whatnot, they're not responsible for it. But buying stuff in store, there's many stories of cards being tampered with. Kroger has a ton of them. It's not really special to any brand itself, but there are some that are more prone to be targeted than others. And when you're doing your gift card buying in store, you gotta always make sure to check. I tell people you gotta check your cards all the time. Make sure that nothing that you have hasn't been touched or someone else has access to it. And this has happened at Giant. This has happened at Stop and Shop. This happened at Safeway, HEB. The big supermarket chains where folks shop out a lot. The bad guys are out there. And they're trying to take your money. So I would say the number one risk of gift card reselling is just making sure that whatever cards you have is safe. Make sure your emails are safe. Make sure wherever you store your cards are safe, that no one else aside from you or someone you trust can access. Because, like we said earlier in the call, it doesn't take much for what is a fun or could be fun and semi-profitable business to turn into a big loss very quickly. And those vacations and sign-up bonuses are nice, but they're only nice as long as you're not losing money. Once you're losing money, then the whole thing doesn't become worth it anymore. It doesn't take a lot for that to happen. So everyone, you got to stay vigilant, and make sure you're doing what you need to protect yourself.
Yes, good. Inspect the packages. I look at them. If there's any damage to the packaging they appear to be tampered with, I don't even take the risk. I've seen at some Staples stores, particularly on the MasterCard gift cards, I'd look at the rack and some of the cards might already be opened. And the store employee would say, oh, well, it's someone that decided to just take it back. They didn't buy it. But I won't even take the risk. If the package is tampered, I'll just move on to a different package there and buy that, or sometimes have to walk out with less than I expected. But I definitely don't want to risk issues with the cards.
Yeah, it always sucks to walk into a store thinking that your store is loaded up with the brand that you want, and then you pull them off the shelves. The next thing you know, that every single card is tampered, and you wasted a whole trip for nothing.
Yep, and usually I'm making my routes efficient. That if I'm going to a store, I'm doing other things on that route. So generally, I'm not going to drive 30 minutes just to go to one place. But if I can make stops on the way, if things are in that area, then it's well worth the trip.
Yeah, back when I was in Staten Island, when I was running a Stop and Shop, I had a whole route planned where I would basically hit up 5 stores in a roundabout, do any errands that had to be done on the way. That was a nice way to maximize whatever errands my wife sent me out that I had to do, and just knock out a few grand in gift card buying at the same time. Although now I live in Houston, and I mainly do is Kroger. My play is just to go to my one store, and I don't really do any of those long drives around town to hit up multiple stores.
All right. Anything else as we're wrapping up here?
I've kind of had my philosophy has generally been, which I guess would also be a word of advice. Most folks that do that hit up stores, like you said about driving around to multiple places, there's I think at Giant you actually have to go to customer service, right? You can't. Just do
customer service at Giant for 500 or more, or even 300 or more.
I've always found that if you go directly to the manager, whoever's in charge of the store, you basically explain to them what you're doing and why you're doing it. I have found that they're generally okay, and they don't cause any problems. It's gift card scares people because of like we just spoke about all the fraud, and if they don't understand what you're doing, they think that you're some scammer who's buying gift cards, or they're nervous that you're being scammed, which is also a big issue out there. But I've always gone straight to the head of the store, just seek them out and say, hey, I'm buying gift cards for spending money on my credit card and whatnot. And I've never really found that once they understand why you do it, they actually get curious. They want to get involved too. They're more than happy to let you do what you need to do. I know for me personally with Kroger, and we can end up with this. Most folks who do heavy Kroger spending, I know you don't have that in Pennsylvania. We'll run around to self-checkouts, and you can buy a few $1,000s at a shop as long as you're under a specific limit, and you can hit up back to back to back, jumping from register to register. But I've always been in the belief, and although most of our volume comes from guys who do that, when I moved here to Houston, I just went straight to the manager of the store, and I told him, hey, I'm going to be coming in here every day. Whenever you guys want a promo, I want to buy X amount of gift cards on a daily basis. Took them a few weeks to clear it, and once they did, it's been smooth running. So instead of me having to run to 5, 6, 7 stores doing a few thousand at a shop, I do my one trip to my store. They let me do my my spending at customer service, and it's more streamlined for me personally. But everyone's got to do whatever works for them.
That's nice. Yeah. So try to figure out a way to be more efficient in your travels. And when I go to the store, I'm usually buying close to the max as well, rather than just going in for one $500 card and walking out. If I could buy 2,000, I'll buy the 2,000 rather than just taking 4 trips of 500 each.
Right. Maximize your spend and maximize your time.
All right. Thanks again, David Weiler of CardCenter.CC, for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for future episodes. Visit HurdyGurdyTravel.com to contact me, find me on social media, read select episode transcripts, schedule a free consultation, and use referral links to support my efforts. Find this show on many podcast platforms and YouTube, where you can find bonus videos. Supporting me with monthly donations on Subscribestar.com will give you special perks, including a custom podcast episode, questions answered by upcoming guests, and monthly private one-on-one discussions, delving more into advanced topics I don't openly discuss at length in podcast episodes. Visit meetup.com/Philly Miles and Points to learn about Greater Philadelphia travel, credit miles and points meetups I host monthly in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. I hope to see you in person at a future event. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. The website udio.com created podcast episode, intro, and outro music. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Travel at low cost with the points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.